Well, welcome to Danbury Ridge. I'm here with Liam, the winemaker, and Richard Bampfield. We've got a great experience today. We're tasting the Octagon Block 2022, which is coming out in the spring next year, versus the 2018. So the very first vintage made from the grapes from this vineyard. I'm going to pour a little bit to Richard so he can get a bit ahead of us. Tell us the key things that we're likely to see differences from climate, because you said before that they're quite similar, 22 and 18.
I think the difference between 22 and 2018 is 22 had more extreme heat. There were a lot of days over 35. It got over 40 degrees here, and the dry period was longer as well. Although, sort of, if you were to total the growing season rain up, they would be similar, 22 and 2018. But there was 3 months of essentially drought during the summer of 22. And I think what you get with Pinot is you get a vine that shuts down a little bit more, whereas the Chardonnay, it's happy. It will grow. It will grow in drought. It will not take up rain whenever there's a deluge of it. So Pinot is just a bit more temperamental. So I think the difference between the 22 and the 2018 will be that 2018 Pinot would have had a lovely time, whereas the 22 Pinot, there would have been times where that was properly stressed and just stopped.
Right.
It wouldn't have continued to ripen, and I think what that has given is a 22 Octagon Block is slightly more harrowing. It's developed really nicely, but at a slightly slower pace than the 2018, which whenever it was picked, it was big. It was a massive wine. And the 22 Estate that you tasted, I think that was a pretty big Pinot.
Yes. Yeah.
Where the Octagon, I think there was just that extra stress here that it had slowed down at places, and you've got something that is really quite pretty.
Richard, we tasted the Estate Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
Now this is quite different.
It is really different, and I'm still picking up that, a fairly explosive Pinot perfume.
Yes.
But it's different. I get, as I said with Chardonnay, I don't always find it easy to describe fruit flavours. On the Estate Pinot, I was picking up more dark fruits possibly. Here I'm picking up a combination of dark fruits and red fruits. Yeah. But the really big difference for me is on the palate.
Yes,
right.
The tannins.
Because it's filled out. The tannins are much more present, but in a good way. Yeah. And there is more substance, more flesh. Middle. It's a more ample sort of wine.
Yes.
In the Estate one.
Yeah. And I think that's the extra time in oak has probably helped mellow that bit out, where the Estate wants that extra time in bottle. But the interesting bit with the Octagon compared with the Estate was nearly grown all on heavy clay, right. Topsoil, subsoil. 50 million years later, the Octagon's got the layer of gravel, so it's got the gravel over the clay, and that definitely plays a part in the wines.
This is crazy, because I remember we were saying about the Estate wine. Love to see where this is going to go. Now you taste this.
Yes.
And I want to say exactly the same thing, but even more so.
Yes.
But there's also, even now, there's the pleasure component coming through on the middle palate.
I'm glad you used that, because when I tasted it, I went, wow, this just has, I'm really caught up in texture, and I love textures. And this has what I was going to call density, but there's a lightness in it, which I find rather attractive. So it's got all that tannin and all of that other stuff, but it finishes quite light on the end, which is lovely.
Really beautiful wine, and with as I indicated in what I said earlier, a substance and flesh on the middle palate, which for England is super exciting.
Very.
So a big contrast, I would imagine. We saw it in the Chardonnays. 4 years more bottle age. Richard, you're having a little look at the colours. Can you see?
I was trying to look at the colour, and you can see. Yes, actually, there's significant evolution in colour. And
Aromatically,
as well.
wow.
Yeah.
So I had much more of that, what I call dark cherry on the 22. That sort of plum dark cherry. Here you're almost going into the bramble,
Yes.
like blackberry type aromatics, and then that toastiness from the oak.
It's quite remarkable.
Similarly to the Chardonnay, it's just settled down.
Yeah.
It makes you realise how precocious, in some ways, the 22s are.
Yes.
And this has just settled down a little bit. It's matured, but beautifully. And again, it's the finish. It's more the back of the palate where it really comes through.
The tertiary notes, there's still fruit there as well.
Yes.
But there's a lot more. The 22 shows a lot.
Primary, those juicy.
Primary.
Yeah.
With the 2018 it starts to actually feel a bit more Burgundian because of that.
Yeah.
Because of that age. Burgundians quite often achieve that from the offset.
I think it is some of those dried blueberry and characters that you're starting to get in here. That's quite the palate, though. Richard, you mentioned something about the end. It's just got this most beautiful texture, this velvetiness that's so beautiful on the finish.
It's lovely to taste, but I just want to drink this. I want to see how it grows on me through as I go through a glass, as I go through a bottle. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's quite often Pinot can hit that awkward stage. I feel this has transitioned quite well. It's sort of 6 years on. Sometimes that can be you don't get the tertiary and you've lost the fruit. But I feel that you've got a bit of both.
Not
at
at
the
all.
moment.
And we mustn't forget, these vines were planted in 2014.
Yes.
This is the first vintage.
It's crazy, isn't it? 4-year-old vines.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Wow. Well, here's a toast to Octagon Block. And thank you, Liam, for letting us taste a mature one. Thank you very much, Richard.
Encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. We look forward to coming back to Octagon Block very soon.